Welcome to Sage Audio. Today let's look at how to use vocal effects, but first, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. How to EQ vocal lows. For this video, I'm going to show more introductory to intermediate ideas and techniques. Also, the processors I'm using could be used in the order that they're shown to make a vocal chain. Now first, let's look at the vocal's low frequencies and how we should affect them with an EQ. We'll notice that the vocal has a fundamental or its lowest frequency. When we introduce our high-pass filter, we want to attenuate up to right before that frequency. Over the fundamental or fundamentals, you can create a bell filter and subtly amplify them. Let's take a listen to the changes that this makes to the vocal and notice how cutting the lows makes it sound cleaner, but it doesn't get rid of anything important about the vocal.
Don't forget the vision. My home is your home. Don't forget the vision. My home is your home.
How to EQ vocal mids. Next up, let's consider the mid frequencies. First, let's attenuate a little of 500 Hz if we want the vocal to sound further back, or amplify it by a couple of dB to make it sound a little closer to the listener. Now, somewhere between 700 to 1.3 kHz, we might find some nasally tones. We can attenuate these to make the vocal sound more balanced. Let's take a listen to these two new bands that we added on top of what we did in the last chapter.
Don't forget the vision. My home is your home. Don't forget the vision. My home is your home.
If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It's free and it helps us bring you more videos. How to EQ vocal highs. When it comes to high vocal frequencies, we could amplify 2 to 5 kHz to make the vocal cut through a mix. We may also want to attenuate somewhere above 5 kHz with a bell to help control sibilance. Take a look at the analyzer to see where the sibilance might be. Now, to add some air to the vocal, we could use a shelf filter, increase the Q, and amplify above 12 kHz. This shouldn't make the vocal sound harsh, but instead increase delicate sounding aspects of it. Let's take a listen to these 3 changes on top of the 4 that we introduced in the last 2 chapters.
Don't forget the vision. My home is your home. Don't forget the vision. My home is your home.
Compress vocals for an upfront sound. Compression on vocals is incredibly important. If we want the vocal to be detailed and really upfront, let's set a quick attack, 50 millisecond release, and use look ahead if it's available. Then we'll set a 4:1 ratio with a soft knee, attenuate about 6 dB, and use auto makeup gain. In short, this is going to capture the vocal along with all of its details, then amplify them while simultaneously controlling the dynamics. Let's take a listen to this compression and notice how much more we can hear from the vocal.
Don't forget the vision. My home is your home. Don't forget the vision. My home is your home.
Change vocal sound with compression. A compressor could be used to change the vocal's timbre. For example, if we set a 10 millisecond attack and a 500 millisecond release, along with a soft knee and a higher ratio, we'll achieve a smoother vocal sound. If we want to emphasize transients, on the other hand, we could use a hard knee with quicker attack and release settings. Now, although a quick attack typically causes more to be attenuated, if you set both the attack and release quick enough, it's going to distort and amplify transients. So let's use both of these setups and notice how it significantly changes the sound of the vocal.
Don't forget the vision. My home is your home. Don't forget the vision. My home is your home.
De-essing your vocal. Vocal de-essing is often overlooked, but it's incredibly important. Too much sibilance in your track is going to be hard to listen to or enjoy. Now, de-essers are simple. Just try to achieve about 3 to 5 dB of attenuation, or maybe a little less depending on the vocal. A split band setting typically works better. Let's introduce de-essing and notice how it balances the high frequencies of the vocal.
Don't forget the vision. My home is your home. Don't forget the vision. My home is your home.
Using saturation on vocals. Saturation is another important effect. It subtly compresses, but more importantly, adds harmonics or frequencies that relate to the vocal's fundamental frequency. These harmonics strengthen our perception of the fundamental, making the vocal sound fuller and more impressive depending on the harmonics that we introduce. Typically though, saturation is going to cause a second ordered harmonic, or one order above the fundamental, and a third ordered harmonic, which is two orders above the fundamental. Let's take a listen and notice how this fills out the vocal.
I won't forget the vision. My home is your home. And I won't forget the vision. My home is your home.
If you're enjoying the channel, use the search box to watch more of our videos. Frequency response shaping with saturation. If we use a multiband saturator, we can shape the frequency response of the vocal. For example, I could use warm tube saturation on the low frequencies to create a fuller sound, but clean tube on the highs to cause clarity and enhance the detail. Alternatively, I could use tape saturation to smooth out the high frequencies or make the lows sound fuller but smoother when compared to tube saturation. Let's take a listen to these different settings, but using the same amount of saturation, and notice how the vocal's timbre changes.
I won't forget the vision. My home is your home. And I won't forget the vision. My home is your home.
Adding short vocal delay. Let's move on to temporal or time-based effects like delay and reverb. You'll notice that we saved these for last since this is where these types of effects should be inserted in a vocal chain. A short delay is going to thicken your vocal and make it sound more impressive. If it's shorter than 130 milliseconds, the delay is going to be perceived as one signal, just a more impressive one. So keep this in mind when you're choosing delay times. Let's take a listen to how this improves the vocal.
I won't forget the vision. My home is your home. And I won't forget the vision. My home is your home.
Stylized or practical reverb. Reverb could be stylized or it could be used more practically. Now by this I mean reverb settings can make a vocal sound entirely unnatural but distinct, or be used to blend the vocal in or emulate a natural recording or performance space. Usually, stylized reverb emphasizes high frequencies, whereas practical reverb augments the mids. Let's try both to get a better understanding of what I mean by this. Also, let's pay attention to how the stylized setting makes the vocal stick out, and the practical one helps it naturally sit in the mix.
I won't forget the vision. My home is your home. And I won't forget the vision. My home is your home.
Overall vocal shaping at chain's end. At the end of the vocal chain, it doesn't hurt to add one more EQ. With the EQ, you'll be controlling every form of processing that came before it, meaning it can have a huge effect on the overall sound, so use it subtly and thoughtfully. I'll use mine to boost a small amount of presence and air, as well as dip a little of the low mids and attenuate any new lows below the fundamental that got added by our processing. Let's take a listen.
I won't forget the vision. My home is your home. And I won't forget the vision. My home is your home.
If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching.